welcome to another video. Wow, what a weird angle. Today, I'm so excited to share with you 3 very easy, very quick, very delicious holiday desserts to bring to any sort of party or family gathering or just eat at home because you're not going anywhere, because you're being safe and not risking your family's lives by staying home. Oh gosh, I just realized I'm gonna be eating all of this, just me and Eric. Well, YOLO, let's do it. Okay, so the 3 treats I'm going to be sharing with you are Rice Krispie treats, but not any Rice Krispie treats, okay? Shelli Hopkins Rice Krispie treats. Now, if you know my mother well enough to have ever tried her Rice Krispie treats, you would know that they're the greatest Rice Krispie treats in the entire universe, that they surpass any sort of even store-bought Rice Krispie treat and are just the most magical, wonderful tasting things in the entire universe. So I'm gonna share her secret recipe with you today. Wow, did she approve this? I don't know, honestly. Okay, the second one is my very staple holiday treat to bring to any sort of gathering. It is the Rollo pretzel M&M treats. I don't really have a name for them other than that. I usually call them just my Rollo pretzels. They're so simple, so easy, and freaking addictive, okay? And then the third recipe is a new recipe I'm trying for the very first time that was actually inspired by Eric himself. The Christmas Grinch came up with a Christmas recipe. It was one from his childhood that he called reindeer chips. Apparently, I don't think anyone in his family made it. He just had it from someone maybe like at church or at school or something, and it stuck in his brain. It's essentially chocolate covered Pringles decorated like reindeers. Let's hop into it with our very first recipe. Okay, so the first recipe is the easiest. We are going to use these pretzel tiny twists. You need just a regular bag, and it's the regular shaped ones. You need some Christmas M&Ms, and yes, we've already dove into that package, and you need some Rollos. So these are so easy. Let me show you how to make them. Okay, first things first, you get out a cookie baking sheet and line it with some foil. Then you take your pretzels and line them so they fill the entire baking sheet. Then you take your Rollos and individually unwrap them and stick them in the center of the pretzels. Make sure that none of your pretzels are touching and that your chocolate will not melt in a corner or anything like that. Then you pop them in the oven and you set the oven to 250 degrees, and I usually let them go from anywhere between 2 minutes to 4 minutes, just until they're soft but not totally melted. Then once they are ready to come out of the oven, you immediately put the red and green M&Ms in the center. You just have to push down a little bit, pop them in the fridge or freezer to cool, and then they should be totally good to serve. For the second recipe, you literally just need 1 box of holiday Rice Krispies. I got 2 because you best know I'm going to be making 2 batches of these. These are the holiday ones. They are just regular Rice Krispie flavor, but they have green and red. Hot tip: if you can find the gingerbread Rice Krispie treats that are released, I think they're closer to Christmas because I couldn't find any anywhere. They're delicious when you make them at Christmas time. So try to get those, but if you can't get those, then get these because they're perfectly fine too and they're very festive. You need a 1-pound bag of marshmallows. I use mini marshmallows just because I think they work better, but you can use the big fat marshmallows too. And then you also need a stick of butter, which I'm gonna get out of the fridge. That's literally it for these Rice Krispie treats. Okay, you're going to take your butter first, and it's a full stick of butter, but you're gonna cut it in half and set 1/2 aside to use in the actual recipe, and then unwrap the other half just slightly, enough to grease your baking dish. Right here, I think I'm using an 11 by 14 oval. I think it's an 11 by 14. You can also use a 9 by 13. It can be a rectangle or a circle. It doesn't really matter the shape. And you're just going to grease your dish and also grease the back of a flat spatula to use, preferably one with no slots. And then you set these aside for use later. And then you're going to grab the biggest pan you've got. My pan is not big enough, as you will see very soon. And then you just turn your heat up to about a medium to high heat. Then you are going to take your 1/2 stick of butter and completely melt that. Push it all around until it melts. It's good to stir it as it melts just so that it doesn't burn. And if you notice that it does start to burn, just turn the heat down a little bit. And then once you've got your butter totally melted, you are going to take almost the entire bag of marshmallows and dump that in. Only leave about a couple handfuls at the very bottom to add in later. And you're going to want to stir your marshmallows the entire time. This is very important. The marshmallows absolutely will burn if you step away from them. So just keep them in a constant rotation, going with the butter until they are nice and stirred. This is my favorite part of the process just because it's like kind of like a science experiment. It's just fun to see them go from solid to kind of gooey deliciousness. I kind of just want to stick my head in there and lick the whole bowl. All right, Miley, stop being weird. Okay, then once you've got your marshmallows totally melted into a nice sauce, you're going to pour about 3/4 of the Rice Krispie packet in there. This is where you can see it gets a little messy for me because my pan is not big enough. I wouldn't use the whole box of Rice Krispies, but go ahead and use most of it. And you just kind of have to manhandle it, stir it around until it feels combined. And then once it feels combined, you top it off with that last little bit of the marshmallows that you left at the bottom of your bag. Those will not melt all the way, and that's crucial and kind of the secret step of what makes these Rice Krispies extra gooey, extra freaking delicious. So make sure you do that. Then pull your dish out and you just plop that giant mess right in there. And actually, you would think that you would want to pat it down right away, but you want to let it rest for just a second. And so plop it in there, let it sit for a minute or two. And then with the back of that spatula that you should have already greased, you are just going to smash it down. It's funny because if you go slow, it will definitely pull the Rice Krispies up. But if you go fast and kind of jab it really good, it works better. Let them cool and you're done.
Please look at the aftermath of this stove.
Yeah. That's gonna be a sec to clean. For the reindeer chips, you need little reindeer antlers, the little stick pretzels, you need some Pringles, and you need some almond bark. And I'm also going to utilize any leftover M&Ms in this guy. But I also got Ritz crackers to dip them in chocolate and see if we can do it that way too. So we'll see which one works better, Ritz or Pringles. We're going to do a little experiment here. Okay, first you're going to just lay out some foil and then lay out all your Pringles and Ritz crackers. You're going to melt your chocolate and then dip your pretzel in and shake it off. Here you will see that I very quickly realized that the chocolate was not going to take very well to the M&M eyes and nose and pretzel antlers. They just didn't stick. So I decided just to start dipping my Pringles. And hot tip, if you get both a spoon and a fork while you're dipping, it really helps to first cover them completely with the spoon and then put them on the fork and just tap them off on the side of your bowl or whatever you're melting them in. That helps. So once I went through the process of covering all the Pringles, I thought I would experiment and do some half dips as well. And then I did the same thing with the Ritz. And then I decided, since I wasn't going to make little reindeer, I would still make them pretty by also melting some of the white chocolate and just drizzling that all across. And then lastly, I just took some salt and sprinkled some salt on the tops too.
Okay, these turned out great if I do say so myself. First of all, Scrimpy is patiently waiting to taste test. Look at these Rice Krispie treats. I need to cut them still. My pretzel thingies. And the experiment of all experiments. It kind of failed, but kind of made something good. So here's the scape. Now the important part is, how does it taste? And I have the ultimate taste tester here to tell me.
I'm not a good taste tester. I'm gonna like it.
All right, Scrimpy, what do you want to taste first?
Let's do the Old Faithfuls in the middle first, because we know what those should taste like.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna cut these Rice Krispies. Did you put 2 in your mouth?
No.
How's
Sweet,
it taste?
salty, caramely. Tastes good.
They're so yummy.
Classic. Tastes like Christmas.
That one's the easiest to make. All right, here are 2 end pieces of the Rice Krispie treats.
That's the Rice Krispie.
These are what I could eat a whole freaking pan of. Look at all those extra marshmallows in there.
Okay.
Okay. I've already tried the Pringles and I know my opinion, so go ahead and dig in and we'll get your reaction while I finish this Rice Krispie.
I'm gonna take two, one that's fully covered and one that's half covered so I can see what my preference is. Go fully covered first. Good. I almost like the half-dipped ones better. You get a lot more of the saltiness of the chip.
I didn't like them.
Really?
I tried some as I was making them, and it's just the chocolate's too overpowering and the chocolate's flavor isn't that good.
Yeah.
Like it's melting chocolate, so it's not like the greatest chocolate in the entire
Maybe
world.
with better chocolate it would.
Maybe with dark chocolate, I think. And I would definitely just do the half dip. I would not do full dip. That's too much. Even with the salt sprinkled on top, like it's just not enough, like sweet and salt. So yeah, try the Ritz too.
Have you tried these already too?
Those I think are a little better, the Ritz.
I prefer the Pringle, honestly.
Really? How funny.
I think it's just like the base of it. Like I would prefer a Pringle over a Ritz, and so when you dip both in chocolate, it's just which one do you prefer. So.
Well, there you have it. We have the tried and true Miley recipe in the middle that is super easy, the easiest to make. Definitely a crowd pleaser. Then we have the mother's recipe that is freaking delicious and my favorite thing on the table probably. And then we have the experiment, the new, never tested recipe that I just tried and definitely failed the reindeer part and then very quickly shifted to that. So which one do you think your favorite is on the board, on the table?
They're all so different. Probably Old Faithful, just because you get a lot of salt from the pretzel and the sweetness of the chocolate and caramel.
Okay, so I think my favorite is definitely Rice Krispies. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy these recipes. Please make them and let me know how it goes for you. And
maybe they could send you pictures on your Instagram and tag you.
You can send me pictures on my Instagram and tag me, just like Eric said. So I hope you guys have a holiday season that is bright and merry, even though hopefully you're staying at home and not seeing family, so you're just making these treats for yourself. Oh, we're gonna have to eat all these.
Okay, bye.
Bye, see you next time.